Hi Cancer, how are you? Welcome to Wild March Tarot. This is going to be your end of October monthly reading for 2024. My name is Lauren B, but you can call me Miss March if it suits you just fine. Today, Cancer, we are going to be using the Rider-Waite. I have been using the Aquarian Tarot for the water signs. You wanted something a little bit more traditional and specifically back to basics, Cancer. We also have the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal Oracle deck. We have the black egg at the bottom, which tells me that the rest of October for you might consist of a bit of shadow work. I know, it's a bit of personal reflection and development. And I think part of the reason for that, Cancer, is because your energy feels really flustered. Almost as if you have been moving, grooving, building for a while without necessarily having like all of the nails and the screws in place. And the feeling is like you're starting to feel the rocking. You're starting to feel the shifting, almost like an incoming tower moment. Now, anyone that's ever taken a tarot class with me or has talked to me about the tower card knows that I have very individual feelings about it. But classically, the tower card speaks to crumbling foundations. It's a card where we've kind of like built too big too fast, because if you actually look at the tower card, usually the tower has been placed on firm and solid ground. It's the top of the tower that normally gets hit. The crown pops off, you see people jumping out of windows, right? The actual foundation of the tower in almost every single card I've ever seen illustrated looks absolutely fine. It's the top of the tower that is unstable, giving the impression of like there is nothing that is too big to fail. That sometimes we start on a really good foot, we start on a firm foundation, but then we get ahead of ourselves, we grow, we get FOMO, we build, we expand, we add on to stuff. The days start passing. And next thing you know, you realize, whoa, I did not cement in every brick as I built along the way. Not every screw is like screwed in there deeply. And again, I think you're kind of feeling the wobbling, a little bit like a Jenga tower. And you're like, I have good bones and I have good pieces, but not everything is like as solid as it should be. And that may have to do with skipping a few of the fundamentals, right? So for instance, as just an example, let's take a couple. They fall madly in love, as they do, and very quickly they move in, they have kids, they start the whole thing, right? It happens all the time. People have lovely marriages under those circumstances. But often what happens is that couple starts coming apart at the seams because they did not learn conflict resolution. They didn't necessarily know how to work together as a team when things are tough. They didn't necessarily learn how to tolerate each other on the days when they found each other annoying. Maybe they didn't go through some huge life hurdle. Maybe they didn't have kids. Maybe they didn't have someone die or get fired, or right? They didn't have these fundamentals, these strengthening points built into their relationship before they added on, before they expanded, before they built onto it. There might be something in your life, Cancer. Maybe it is your relationship. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's your creative objectives or goals that you have for yourself. And it feels as though you had a good idea, you started off on a good foot, and then you ran with it. You kept going, and you weren't like very much like the Nine of Wands. I wonder if the Nine of Wands is coming out for you a lot. You're looking around and going, shit, I'm exhausted. And I'm not sure how stable all of this is, almost like a house of cards, right? And so I think in some capacity, the end of October is you having a little bit of that reality check, maybe being a little bit freaked out, going, wait a second, I actually don't maybe have my shit together in the way that I thought. It looks like I have my shit together, but like it actually doesn't. It's not together. I'm gonna have to go back to basics. And so I think at the end of this month, and it's not that long, it's like a week and a half, I think that you might be like going through things and going, here's the weak spot, here's the thing I don't know, here's the conversation I need to have, here's the stuff that needs to go on. Okay, and then next thing you know, and that's where the shadow work is. The shadow work is not diving into the depths. I mean, maybe you're diving into the depths of your trauma, but sometimes the shadow is also just looking at stuff that you would rather avoid. Like, I'm not on top of the ball right now, and like, and I need to. I started off on a good foot, but then things got away from me, and now I need to make sure shit is solid. Otherwise, I am going to have a tower. The cool thing about this energy is you being able to identify what could potentially be a tower, what could potentially be an issue, how things could potentially go awry without active adjustment or participation. And instead of sitting on your hands, you're actually allowing yourself to go in there and going, okay, what were the ABCs that I missed? Let me get to them really quickly. In that, you might not be super like available for people for the rest of the month, because you might literally be like about your business, like, no, I need to square some things away. So you might not be super available, especially like emotionally. Like, I almost get the impression of like someone having a bad day and needing to vent and like wanting to call you, Cancer, and you being like, I actually don't have time for this right now, and like feeling kind of bad about that. But again, it all seems relatively temporary. It's growing pains, but I'm hearing growing up is hard to do. Like, there's something interesting. So that also makes me feel like there might be maybe some of your ancestors or maybe some of your elders that are Wheel of Fortune at the bottom, that are helping you kind of make some slight adjustments and corrections. They're going like this, so that way you can like keep on, because the feeling here is we don't want you to get off path, we don't want you to get off track, we don't want you to go to the starting line, we don't want any of that, but we don't want you to have a trip and a stumble like 2 weeks into the future. So like let's get ourselves back on track right now. So occasionally, like a dance instructor, it feels like they come in and go, hey, straighten your arm a little bit because you're putting too much attention on your back. And you go, oh, you're right, because that's the fundamentals of form, right? So don't also be surprised if intuitively it feels like your team is also kind of nitpicky over the next week and a half. Like, don't do that, or do this, or straighten your back, or drink your water, right? Like, go to sleep. It might feel a little bit like you're being like helicopter parented by like spirit over the next week and a half, but it feels like it's important to like, again, help like instill like a mom doing, no, we need to have bath time, and then we do jammies, and then we do bed, and then we go to sleep, so that way we're fresh for school tomorrow, and you are having to do it to yourself, right? But it feels like you're gonna get there. It's almost like they're going like this, whoosh. It just takes like one quick little like whoosh to kind of get you back and like fight and shape in the end of this month. I wonder if your reading might be kind of shorter today. Yeah, Temperance and the Hermit. You're taking some time out for the rest of the month to rebalance. So you may not be physically super present for others, and again, honestly, emotionally, you might not be super present, but sometimes you have to take a little bit of a step back from society, enter the fringe, right? So that way you can return much more well incorporated with the King of Pentacles here, because this feels like what you want. This is what you want to do. And in your Lovers card here at the bottom here, this may actually be like how you want to show up in relationships. You may be wanting to show up more, the word more formally. There's something about like title and like duty there. I don't know. I wonder if like there's just more you want to be doing for yours, like more you want to be doing for your kids, like there's more you want to be doing for your partner, like there's more you want to be doing for your community, for your artistry, like for your crew, like for your people. Like there's just more I want to be doing. That's part of this like the unification of like of the Lovers here, of I want to bring these disparate parts together. I wonder if that's part of like, I don't know, some of the frustration as well, of like feeling so much of the gap between who you are and like who you want to be, and recognizing the fundamentals that are missing, the education, the wisdom, the acceptance, the whatever that's missing, so that way you can close the gap between who you are and who you visualize yourself as being. Because there's a cognitive dissonance here between how you like project yourself, how you project strength, and like who you actually are. And there's something about the subconscious knows that it's not all lining up, right? That who I know or think I am, who I project myself to be, is not necessarily like who I am at home, or who I actually am like deep down inside. And that creates a sense of imposter syndrome. It creates some issues there. And we were talking to Pisces about issues of identity, and I see a little bit of those as well. I see the Seven of Pentacles, I see the King of Wands, I see the Queen of Swords. the Five of Pentacles. And so what I'm mostly seeing here is like the inability to determine like what makes the difference, what effort makes the difference, what shifts and adjustments bring you to the next thing. Also with the Queen of Swords here, there is a difficulty in how do I want to phrase it, properly like criticizing oneself without abusing oneself. The ability to be like, actually, yeah, I have fallen off the ball, I'm not taking care of my shit, I should be in a better position, I should be taking care of things, and I'm not, without also taking the next step and going, I am the worst person in the world, I don't deserve everything, woe is me. You know, it's like, does that make sense? There's the ability here to be self-critical and self-analyzing without self-abuse. That feels important here. The ability to check yourself and call yourself on things when they need to be called out, because it feels like other people don't call you out on stuff in the way that maybe sometimes you need for whatever reason. It feels like people don't take you to task. So you have to take yourself to task, or spirit has to take you to task. But it's much better if you do it just through like your own self-awareness. And I think that you are. I think, again, you're looking around and going, if I don't shape up, I'm going to have an issue on my hands here. And I see you making the effort to fill in that information gap, which was also, if I'm not mistaken, part of your October monthly reading as well. So I think that there, you know, and sometimes it was part of a lot of the monthly readings for October. And I'm just looking at all of these energies and I'm just like, well, why like now? Why weren't we doing this all month? Like, and what I'm hearing is like, we were doing it all month, but it's not enough. So I guess you're doing a lot of it here at the end, which is fine. My main question is, where are we leading into in October? Gazelle, awaiting opportunity. So this is good. One, there's like a sun setting energy behind here that tells me that you may actually have like a very real physical sense of like the past being the past, entering into a new season. Like we say that, right? You're entering into a new season, but sometimes it doesn't actually feel like anything's different. It doesn't feel like cycles have ended. You may actually feel like the sunsetting of the old and like the rising of the new. The Gazelle also talks a lot about waiting for opportunities, right? And being tuned into your senses enough to be able to sense when opportunity is about to strike. And so I like this because there's sort of this idea of what do I have her book in here? I know, I think it's in the kitchen. Ina Garten, for those of you that don't know, I'm obsessed with Ina Garten. And she just put out a new memoir called Be Ready When the Luck Happens, right? So often, like, and I think that's something that's said relatively frequently, but like, what does that actually mean to be ready when the luck happens, right? So when it's not enough to like just get your big break or to get an opportunity, but to also have the skills and the experience and the confidence in those skills and experience when that opportunity arises, because you don't necessarily know like what else will be required of you. So that includes determination, dedication, leadership skills, responsibility, follow through, like all of these other, again, like these fundamental pieces. And so I do think, again, the end of October is about you identifying where your weak spots are, where you need to go back and review your ABCs. There might be some aspects of your relationship, of your money, of your work, of your creative ventures that you need to go in with a screwdriver and start tightening some screws, start shaping things up, so that way when opportunity arises, your house is in order and who you are is the same person as who you present yourself to be. So that way there are no gaps, there is no imposter syndrome, and there is no confusion. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So this is what I have for you. I really hope this was helpful. I hope this was supportive to you, Cancer, in your life and in your spiritual practice. If you like these styles of readings, we do daily horoscopes and daily tarot tips and spreads over on Patreon. We also have a prayer closet series if you like prayer and intention as part of like your magic rituals. We're doing that as well. Your monthly readings for November will be out shortly, and any information you'll need from me for socials or personal readings will be down below. Thank you for spending this time with me, my little cosmic crabs. I love you so much. I can't wait to see how you shape up over the next couple weeks, and I will see you in November. Goodbye.